everyone, it's Alyssa and welcome to You Can Learn Math. Okay, so today we're talking about percent change. Now, percent change is something that comes up a lot in word problems. Man, do they love giving these as word problems. Now, I'm going to assume with this that you already have a handle on what percent means. When I say, like for this example, like if I say 5%, I'm going to assume that you know that means the same thing as 5 over 100 or 0.05. If this concept if that's not ringing any bells, then I'm going to be working on right after this. I'm going to be working on a video on percentages and what percents are. Please watch that first. Starting with this one, it was a requested video, so I'm starting here. But yes, this should be, you should look at this and go, oh yeah, I get that. Also, this concept that 1 divided by 5, that if I put that in my calculator, 1 divided by 5, and it shows me 0.2 or 0.20, that means it's the same as 20%, that you can change back and forth between those. Again, if you're not nodding your head and going, yeah, I know that, then please watch the other video first. All right, so we're going to assume, again, that you got that covered, you got that solid. So we're moving on to percent change. I'm going to start with just some percent change just with numbers, just flat out numbers, and then we're going to put them in some word problems. Because the word problems, that's what throws people a lot of the time. So I'm going to just give you some numbers. So here's one. 300 changes to 258. And I'm not telling you what these are. These are just numbers. This could be number of boxes of crayons you have. I don't know. This could be anything. We're just looking at what's the percent change. Somebody has 300 and then it goes down to 258. Now what I just said there, it goes down. That's the first thing you want to see. You want to say, hey, is this going up or is this going down? 300 to 258, that is going down, baby. It's decreasing. All right, that's our first question. So that's our first question. Is it going up or down? Second question is, by how much? So how much did it go down? Well, in this case, we can find that by subtracting. 300 minus 258, and we can say how far it went down. And, you know, that's what it's going to look like if you're doing this the long way. You get 42. I'm assuming most of you are going to just type that into a calculator. So 300 minus 258, it went down by 42. Now we have our second piece of information. The third step is we're going to divide. My cat just jumped in my lap and on my laptop. Honey, why do you like doing this at the most inopportune times? Okay, we're going to divide the part by the whole. I'll show you what I mean by that. Now I say part by the whole because that's what percentages are. It's this part is what portion or percent of the whole. How much of the whole is it? And which is the part and which is the whole may change in these different problems. So I'm hesitant to say, oh, divide by the first number, divide by the second. I find when you make those sort of arbitrary rules, that comes back to bite you. So in this case, what we were starting with 300 and then it went down. It was a percent decrease. So this was my beginning whole, and the part that it decreased by was 42. So 42 divided by 300. And off the top of my head, I'm going to say that's 0.14. Let me double check that. Make sure that I did that math in my head right. 42 divided by 300. Yes, it is 0.14. Woohoo! I feel oddly proud when I do things like that. Does it make a difference of me doing that in my head versus typing that into my phone? No, it doesn't. Is it kind of silly that that brings me joy? Yeah, it is. But, you know, hey, you got to find joy in the simple things in life. And as we said, we can convert back and forth from decimals to percentages. And so it's 14%. It decreased by 14%. All right, let's try another one. We're going to use our same things. We're going to say, did it go up and down? By how much? And then we're going to divide the part by the whole. Next one, let's say 675 to 729. Okay, did it go up or did it go down? Well, from 675 to 729, it went up. By how much? Well, now, you always, to find the change, you subtract the smaller number from the bigger number. So you may notice that happened in the previous one. The first number was bigger, so I did first number minus second number. You know, I did the first number minus the second number. Well, in this one, the second number is bigger. So to easily find the change, it's the second number minus the first number. So that's all I'm doing is just, finding the difference by subtracting the smaller from the larger. Okay, so if I subtract these, I get 54. So it was 54 is the how much it changed, by how much. So we want to divide the part by the whole. 54 is what part of 675? Like how much of 675 is this part? So that one I can't do easily in my head. 54 divided by 675 is 0.08. And we use our little knowledge about percent conversion to say that that is the same as 8%. Okay, so that's our, up and down. Now let's go into some word problems. And there's going to be some tricky things in here too. One little tricky thing I'm going to include first is, what if you have something like this? 5 goes to 15. Oh goodness. That's more than the original. Same steps apply. Don't let that throw you. They will throw these in here. Exact same steps. Nothing changes. Is it going up or down? It's going up. By how much? I subtract the smaller from the larger. It went up by 10. I divide the part by the whole. Now this is why when we say part and whole, we have to be careful, because 10, it's more than the 5. So you're like, a part can't be bigger than the whole. Well, when you're talking about percentages, as strange as that is, it can. The whole is, what you're starting with. I'm starting with that 5. That's my whole. How much of 5 is 10? Well, it's more than it. You're like, this is crazy. This doesn't make sense. Even though it may sound a little strange, this is the process. It does work. So 10 divided by 5, we get 2. Now, keep in mind, 2 is the same as 2.00. So, if 0.05 is 5%, it's like you have that, just the 5. Well, what happens when it's like something like 2.05? Now that's 5. That's 205. 205%. And that's my way of saying, with that little 5, I think it's easier to see. But even though this is just 2, that's the same as 200%. Okay, I know that may be a bit little like, what? What's going on here? Let's do some more sample problems and we'll practice this. But I promise it's this same process. Is it going up or down? By how much? Divide that part, which is usually the how much, by the whole, which is usually your beginning amount. I like to say usually just because as soon as you say always, someone's going to throw a wrench in the works. Okay, so I have some sample problems that I've gotten from some different websites where they provide free problems. Okay, so here's one. This is from IXL.com. Mr. Soto purchased a condo several years ago at a selling price of $42,700. So he bought a condo. Recently, he had the condo appraised. This was then. And now it is worth $30,744. By what percent did the value of the condo go down? I hear that. They said, by what did it go down? They've already told us. For step one, they've already told us it's going down. Cool. Thanks, word problem. Step two, by how much? We're going to subtract the smaller number from the larger number. Okay. This is fine. Let me see. 6 plus 4 is 10 carry 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10 carry 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus, 8 plus 9 is 17 carry 1. 1 plus 1. There we go. 11,956. And then, you know, because I like to double check things. Yay, 11,956. Okay. So the change then, it was our number 2. How much did it change? 11,956. Now, part divided by the whole. Part is usually the amount of change. The vast majority of the time it is. Just I'm so hesitant to say always because they will get you. They'll throw in those crazy oddball ones. So the by how much, the change is our part, and the whole is our beginning amount. The part that it was changing from. It's where we started. So this is definitely a calculator. 11,956 divided by 42,700 is 0.28 or 28%. So it decreased by 28%. Okay. Let's get another one here. All right, I have someone, he's a sophomore. She's a sophomore at a college. Last year, tuition, this was then, tuition was $9,320 per semester. This year, now, it is $10,252. What was the percent of increase in the cost of tuition? They're telling us, again, percent of increase. Look for these keywords when they say how much did it go up? What is our increase? What is our decrease? That's helpful. You may think, well, I can tell it's going up or down. Yes, you can look that between from 9,320 to 10,252 that it went up. But here's the thing. Sometimes with the way the word problems are, it can be difficult to see when we're talking about the part versus the whole. The part being how much it changed, whole being where we started from. Sometimes it's not clear by how the problem is worded. If they give it to you, if they say, by how much did it increase? By how much did it go up? Then we know the original one is the smaller number because it had to increase to go up to the next one. So we know it went up. By how much? If we subtract those two, 10,252 minus 9,320, we get 932. We divide that part, the amount of change, by the whole, our beginning amount. 932 divided by 9,320 gives us 0.10 or 10%. So this method works really well when you're given a first number, it's like the then number, they're given the now number, and they're like, what is the percent change? There's another type of word problem they love putting in there, which is they will give you the then number, and then they give you the percent change, and they say, what is the now number? There's a couple different ways to do this. If you use, it is possible to use this sort of same method and do things algebraically, but it's harder, I think. I'll show you what I mean by this. Here's an example. All right. So this is another problem I'm seeing on IXL. All right, the students at an elementary school, there were 680 students at this elementary school. This year it is 15% smaller. How many attended the school this year? Now, if we tried to use this same method, we'd kind of like, oh, well, previously we would say, did it go up or did it go down? We would find the difference between these two numbers, and then we would divide that difference by our then number, our original. So let's think about this. If this is x, okay, our unknown, then we'd be like, oh, it went up or down? It went down. So x is going to be smaller. So 680 minus x, since it's the smaller number, divided by 680 is going to equal 15% smaller, which is the same as 0.85, and then solve for x. This is doable. This algebraic equation is doable. Personally, I think that's a little confusing. Now, if that makes perfect sense to you, what I just said, have at it, man. Go for it. That's awesome. Everyone else, let's look at this a little differently. So we're going to go, we're going to kind of slide this over, and we're not going to be looking at that because we're going to do things a little differently here. For these type of problems, it's more helpful to think about when we're saying percent smaller, percent bigger, percent increase. This one right here, 15% smaller. 680 is our 100%. What is 15% smaller than 100%? It's just 100 minus 15, or 85%. So when they're saying it's 15% smaller, what they're actually asking is, what is 85% of 680? That's it. So you just do that math. 0.85 times 680. Just type that into your calculator. 0.85 times 680, 578. Okay. And do another one or two like that. So here's one. This theater then sold 3,260 tickets to Shakespearean plays. Now they've sold 100% more. How many tickets did they sell this year? 3,260, our origin is 100%. They sold 100% more than that. So what percent did they sell? 100 plus 100 is 200. These are percents. 200%. So what are they asking us? They're asking, what is 200% of 3,260? Which is a much more straightforward question. So it's 2.00, or 2 times 3,260. So what is that, 6,520? 6,520 tickets. The keywords when you're looking at these, honestly, look for those words like when they're asking, what is the increase? Or it had this much more. You know, they're being helpful-ish. They are, honestly. This is more infrequent. In fact, I haven't seen any of these samples, but they might say something like, oh, there's this beginning number and then it went up by 30% and it became, you know, like 720 after it went up by 30%. What, you know, what was the beginning number? You don't see those as much, but just really quickly, if you do see that, it's the same sort of thing. We said that like this one is our 100%. So 100 plus that's 130%. So in this one, you're just saying what is, or actually you know what it is. You normally would say what is 130% of this number here? And we would say, okay, 130% times this number gives us what? Well, here they're giving us the gives us what? So it's 130% or 1.3 times what equals 720. You just divide. Again, that's uncommon. I can't recall seeing that too much. All right, I think we've beaten that dead horse. That's for percent change and all the different ways that they like to address that. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. If you have any suggestions for additional videos, anything you'd like to see covered, or any specific problems that were not sort of in this milieu but were also percent change, please let me know that as well. I hope you enjoyed that today. If it was helpful, useful in any way, please like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. See you later. Bye.